Yes, yes.
We're going to review 2D shapes and 3D shapes with the marshmallows and the toothpicks. But first I have some questions for you, okay? For a sweet treat, who can tell me what they think the toothpicks will represent on our shapes? What do you think the toothpicks will be? Let's see. Braden, what do you think?
The edges?
The edges. Very good. So remind me after we're done, you get a sweet treat. All right, for another sweet treat. Who can tell me what they think the marshmallows will represent on our shapes? What do you think, Maddie?
The points.
The points, do you remember the name of them? Does anyone remember what the name of the points are?
Vertices?
Vertices, very good. Maddie, points also works, so you can get a sweet treat, or you can get a sweet treat, okay? All right, so the marshmallows are going to be our vertices. The toothpicks are going to be our sides. So here's how we're going to do this. I'm going to give you clues about what 2D or 3D shape I want you to make. You're going to make it with your pieces, and then we're going to see if you were right.
Yes.
Okay? Any questions before we get started? Turner?
Can you stab them?
Yeah, you're going to have to push your toothpick into the marshmallow. I wouldn't stab it.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to poke your finger, right? We have to be careful. But I would just gently push your toothpick into the marshmallow so that it sticks. Because you want them to hold together.
Yeah.
All right? Maddie, do you have a question?
Can we make our own one more time?
We'll get to that, okay? On the very last one, I'm going to have everybody make a shape, and then you're going to tell me what shape you made. How many edges, how many vertices it has, okay? Luke?
Can this be a contest, like, if the ones that get out, they get out? Wait, the ones that...
Well, I want to see if everyone remembers their shapes first. Okay? All right, so here's the first one. We're going to start with just 2D shapes. So the 2D shapes were the flat ones that we had, right? They aren't 3D. You wouldn't be able to pick them up and hold them. They're flat.
Yes.
So the first shape that I want you to make has 4 vertices, and 4 sides that are all the same length. 4 vertices and 4 sides that are all the same length. Remember, you're using your marshmallows for vertices, right? You'll have to use your toothpicks and your marshmallows. That way it holds together. All right, when you think you have it, raise your hand.
I don't put pieces in the car.
Mm-hmm.
It does. It looks like wheels, doesn't it?
It's kind of hard to make it. Yeah.
All right. Looks like everyone's almost done. What is the shape you should have made? Sasha?
Square.
A square, right? Yeah. Sasha, can you hold up your shape? It's kind of wobbly, but hold it up so everybody can see. You should have 4 marshmallows, and you should have 4 toothpicks, right? To make a square. Very good. Okay. For another sweet treat, I have a question. Would we be able to make a circle?
No.
Raise your hand if you can tell me why we wouldn't be able to make a circle. What do you think, Gavin?
Because the toothpicks aren't curved.
The toothpicks aren't curved, right? Does a circle have straight edges?
No.
Does it have any vertices?
No.
No, so we wouldn't be able to make a circle. Very good, Gavin. Remind me, okay, after we're done. All right, now, for the next shape. This shape has 3 vertices. Yeah, go ahead and take your square apart because you'll reuse your marshmallows and your toothpicks. This shape has 3 vertices and 3 edges. 3 vertices and 3 edges. And when you think you have it, raise your hand. If you have 3 vertices, how many marshmallows should you have used? Class? 3, right? So you should only have 3 marshmallows. Did you figure it out, Nate?
Oh, not really.
3 vertices and 3 edges. How many marshmallows do you have? No, in your hands, the ones you're working on.
4.
How many vertices would that be?
4.
So you need only 3. So take away one of your marshmallows. Now try to fit it together. And you need 3 edges. How many edges do you have? You have 3 edges? How many toothpicks are there? So you need 3. Now see what you can do.
Triangle?
But
Alright, class, what is the shape?
you can't have the
A
marshmallow
triangle. A
with
triangle has 3
the marshmallow
edges,
hooks each.
3 vertices.
You have to move a marshmallow, Nate. There you go. Problem
Here, now
solved.
you can put it together. Thanks. Okay. Everyone got that? Yep, looks good.
Now they're all sticky.
That's okay, because that'll help them stay together.
They'll definitely stick better.
Alright. Now let's try this.
Yeah, that happened to me.
This one has 5 vertices and 5 edges. 5 vertices and 5 edges.
Sometimes it's helpful to pull out the pieces you need and then hook it together.
Yep, because you'll need 5 vertices, so how many marshmallows is that? 5. And you'll need 5 edges. How many toothpicks is that? 5. Are you okay?
Yeah.
I kind of poked you a little bit. You have to be really careful. Some of them are kind of sharp. Alright, I see them coming together.
You have to manipulate it a little bit, don't you? Kind of move it around till you see what shape it is.
Okay. What shape should you have made with 5 vertices and 5 edges? Oh, raise your hand. What do you think, Sophia?
Hexagon.
Not a hexagon. Hex means 6. Luke?
Pentagon.
Pentagon.
Very good.
Pent means 5. You should have made a pentagon.
Yes.
Luke, can you hold yours up a little bit? Can you hold it up so we can see what yours looks like?
It's a house.
They kind of look like a house. Depending on how you made it. Some of them are a little
They're
wider, but
difficult
that's
when you
okay.
hold them up, you know.
I have a question. Can
Yes.
we have privacy folders so
Yeah.
It's okay.
Can we?
It's okay. We'll keep doing it this way. Because these next ones, class.
Yes.
These next ones might not all look the same.
Mm.
All right? So, let's try this. You need to make a shape with 8 vertices and 8 edges. 8 vertices and 8 edges. We're just doing 2D shapes right now. 8 vertices, 8 edges. We'll get to the 3D ones next. This is the last 2D shape. 8 vertices, 8 edges. If you're having trouble getting started, the first step would be to count out how many vertices you need and how many edges you need, right? And then maybe start just one at a time, putting them together to see what shape you get. I like what you're doing, Turner. Now you gotta put it together. This one might be a little tricky, because that's a lot of pieces to put together, right? Okay, well, some people are still building. What shape has 8 edges and 8 vertices? Jason?
Octagon.
Octagon. Oct means 8. So I have a bunch of you, your octagons kind of look like the shape of a stop sign. Does it have to look just like that? No, it can be totally different, right? Yeah, Turner's kind of looks like more, kind of like a zigzag, kind of, instead of more circular. So, but as long as you have 8 vertices, 8 edges, that counts as an octagon, right? Okay, very good. Oh yeah, Luke is holding his up. His isn't exactly like a stop sign shape. His is a little more.
It's like a sock.
Kind of like a sock. So that looks good. Yeah. Yep, and that's okay.
Yeah, it is like a chair.
All right, class. Oh no. Class.
Yes.
That's better. All right, now pull your pieces apart. We're going to do 3D shapes now. So make sure you have them all pulled apart. Now, the first one that we're going to do, it's going to be the same thing. I'm going to give you clues, except there's one more clue that I have to give you guys. We have vertices, and we have our edges. But what do 3D shapes have that 2D shapes don't? What do you think, Cassie?
Flat surface.
Flat surfaces, yes. You can get a sweet treat from that. A flat surface, there's another name. Jason, what do you think?
Faces.
Faces, yes.
Very good.
Okay. Very good. So, I'm going to tell you 3D shapes. I'm going to give you the number of faces, the number of vertices, and the number of edges to see if you can get it. Okay? Are you ready for the first one?
Yep.
The first one has 8 vertices, 12 edges, and 6 faces. 8 vertices, 12 edges, and 6 faces. I see some people already got it figured out. Take your time. You gotta be careful. It might be a little tricky to get them to stand up, but you can.
Earlier today, I taught a lesson to second grade students that involved a review of 2D and 3D shapes. I planned for a high level of student engagement by choosing an activity that I thought the students would really enjoy doing. With second grade students, they really love doing things hands-on and activities where it's not a worksheet. They don't have to sit there with a pencil and paper and write things down. So since I knew that we were going to be reviewing shapes and figures, I found an activity where students create shapes and figures using toothpicks and marshmallows, and they get to manipulate those and use the materials to create a model. So I knew that they would really like that and that it would be an engaging activity for them to be a part of. So the actual level of engagement ended up being very high. As you can see in the video, the students were excited. They really enjoyed making those different shapes in different models, and they were raising their hands, they were trying to answer the questions, and they were very active in the activity. They really liked doing it. Some challenges that I faced were with frustration. In the video, you can see one kid gets a little discouraged and frustrated with himself when he can't figure out what shape he's supposed to be making. So with that student, he kind of tends to do that when he doesn't know an answer right away. So I anticipated that a little bit, but I knew that just by giving him a little bit of individual attention and helping him talk through the process, that he would be all right. And it worked. He just had that little hiccup, and then after he kind of figured out what he was supposed to be doing and how he was supposed to be making the shapes, then he did a lot better. And he got more into it, especially when I let the students choose their own shape at the end. He really enjoyed that part, and he actually did it 2 or 3 times instead of just making one shape. But yeah, that was really the only challenge that I faced. Something else, but I am not sure exactly how I would fix it, is that some of the students' models didn't hold together very well, and I think it's just the marshmallows and the toothpicks. Either they didn't get them in all the way, or it's kind of a hard structure to get to stand anyway, especially for those 3D ones. But overall, I think that it worked really well. Something that I would do to change the approach of how I did this lesson was I would have made the different shapes and models myself and then taken a picture of them, so that once I gave the clues and the kids made their own model, I would put that picture that I made up on the board to compare theirs to what mine looked like. Because for some of them, like the cubes, they needed to look a certain way, but for others, it was okay if they looked a little bit different. For example, the octagons, as long as it had 8 sides and 8 vertices, it was an octagon. It didn't have to look exactly like a stop sign shape. It could look a little bit different. So I think that would be helpful, and especially to those kids, like the one kid who got frustrated, being able to see exactly what he could create would probably have been helpful for him. Also, since it was kind of hard to get the marshmallows and everything to stand up, it would have been better for all the kids to see, because I had some of them hold up their projects or their models to show what theirs looked like, but some of them kind of got a little lopsided, so not everyone got to see exactly what it should have been, especially for the cube, the 3D figures. So I enjoyed that lesson, and I really think that the kids enjoyed the lesson. They had been asking about what the marshmallows and the toothpicks were for all morning, so they were excited when they finally got to use them, and they got to eat them at the end, so they really liked that. I really think that I will use this lesson in the future if I get to teach this subject again, and I think that students in the future would enjoy it just as much as the kids today did.